Steven.
Oh, hi.
Steve, it's been a while since we talked. I've been meaning to ask a few questions, so now that I have you here, I figure I may as well squeeze you dry a little bit for content. Okay. So I'm a big fan of the Steven cinematic universe. I'm a huge fan. That being said, I don't envy your position as someone who has like your entire life is like online at this point, right? Do you have any qualms about that? About like, your relationship details being completely public and, obviously you didn't try to make it public necessarily, but this stuff does seem to come out over and over again with whether, in the past it was Anna or, the other crazy girl Lab, and then obviously there was the Bob thing, and now you've got this whole thing with Melina going on where like not we don't know every detail of the relationship, but over time, some intimate details of the relationship and problems with it are coming out, on your stream that you're talking about. Do you have any like, I guess, just reservations or like negative feelings about that?
I mean, like the way that I try to evaluate it is I try to see like, I feel like usually like who tries to keep things private and then who makes things really public. And then reserve your sympathy for like the people that try to keep things really private. I feel like most of my stuff is pretty public, but it's pretty intentional. Like Melina was a streamer. She was on my stream. We talked a lot about it. We streamed together. Like no part of that is public. Same thing with like people like Lab and Anna. Like no part of that is public. So like if you're asking me like, am I upset or is it annoying sometimes when the negative parts are public? I mean, like I guess yeah, but like that's the downside to like enjoying the benefits when the positive sides are public. So it's like a cost benefit analysis that I just have to weigh. Personally, I like most stuff being public because it gives people very, very, very little leverage against me. So when dipshits show up in my YouTube chat and start spamming shit that would normally be funny to their 10-year-old audiences, and it's backfiring on them horribly, yeah, that feels good. Yeah. So I like things being public because it gives people, yeah, just there's less, nothing surprising has ever come out about me ever. Like so I'm a pretty, like what you say, what you get, yeah.
I guess my question was going to be like, in the future, are you plan to keep relationships private? But I guess obviously you just answered that question a little bit in and of it, no.
Yeah, I think it would depend on like if I don't see this happening, but like if theoretically, if in like 2 years I discover some like super tradcon woman that for some reason I click with and she wants to be my girlfriend or wife, but like never wants to be on stream, like maybe that could be a thing. But it just puts me in a really weird position because when you're trying to keep things private and then they end up being made public against your will, now it's like all downsides. Like I didn't even get the benefit from it being public, and now it's like bad shit might be made. I was like, that, and you just lose control of everything. Like I don't know. I like things just being out in the open and pretty public, like just general.
That just seems so. Do you think there's something wrong with you? I mean, it just sounds so crazy to me. Like I feel like there's almost no other creator who would want that.
Yeah, well, that's because I've got an unlimited supply of self-esteem. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I feel pretty confident about myself. If people don't like what I do or want to criticize my life or whatever, knock yourselves out. Most people, I don't care about their opinions, to be honest. Yeah, just do my thing.
You have like such a.
It is pretty unnormal. I understand. Like, yeah, there are a lot of streamers that have huge problems with it. I just don't care. I don't know why. I just don't.
You have such a. But it's not just this. It's also like with when you were talking on stream with. I can't remember who, but you were talking about how like cheating isn't a thing that really bothers you, and that's why you're okay with like an open relationship because it's just like you don't get like an ego hit from that or whatever. You don't get like insecure, and that's so foreign and alien to me because I feel like for 99.9% of people, it's like the complete opposite. Like it ruins their fucking year they get cheated on.
Yeah. There are like guesses. I've like speculated on that before, but people get really mad when I do, and everybody's really sensitive around that topic. So yeah, people just view it differently. I guess I don't know.
Well, I mean, there must be some kind of psychological thing, no? I mean, okay,
not worth speculating. People get so mad.
Okay, in a hypothetical Minecraft world, is there any way you could posit what perhaps a fictional Steven could have?
Like why somebody be upset about it?
Why you're not upset?
I mean, like. Hey, warning, these are honeypot threads. I'll just ban all of you guys on my subreddit when you get triggered because you don't even engage with what I say. This is my feeling on it, okay? And everybody gets mad at this, okay? But in my personal feeling is that most people go through life looking for some sort of like validation or affirmation or just somebody like understanding them and kind of like saying they're an okay person, right? Or ideally somebody that loves you, right? So that's why love from our parents and our family and friends growing up is so important. And arguably, once you hit a certain stage in life, love from a significant other is one of the most defining like cornerstones of who you are as like a loved and accepted person, right? You have somebody that says they love you, they accept you, they're willing to share their body with you, they're willing to share special moments with you, they make themselves available to you in ways that nobody ever has. That's an incredibly important, I think, thing or centerpiece for a lot of people's like psychological stability. When that person cheats on you, you're removing one of the, like for a lot of people, one of the largest sources of validation for this person. It's gone. And to have that person like kind of to not have their validation anymore or to see them give it to somebody else or choose somebody over you is like the most destructive feeling in the world. My guess is going to be, and I don't know, that like the more you rely on that other party for like more bedrock validation and the more you're missing on your own, the more like completely catastrophic it is to have that thing happen to you. That'd be my guess.
But you don't have
if I'm like, so I'm somebody that's very, very, very independently driven, and this isn't always good. There are like negatives to this as well in terms of like how I relate to other people. But because like I'm so independently driven, it's very hard for me to imagine that another person is ever going to be like a bedrock, like cornerstone of validation or anything for me. So it's just not. So like I'm okay with my partner having more freedom, or I guess somewhere maybe leaving me or whatever the fuck. Like it's just not as an important like piece of my life. I mean, obviously there are some situations that would change it. Like we had a child together and we're like raising a child, and my wife is like, well, I'm bored, I'm gonna leave. That would probably not be good for a variety of reasons, but yeah.
Interesting. Someone in my chat says, how do you feel about Memetics being the first guy to make Melina be exclusive with him? I don't think that's the case even though. I doubt that's the case.
That what?
That Memetics is the first guy to make Melina be exclusive. I doubt she's exclusive with him, if I had to guess.
I feel like that could be possible, but I mean, I can't speculate much on their relationship. I think the quote from Melina will be that it's still open or poly, but in practice, they'll always be exclusive because that guy doesn't even let Melina hang out with friends alone. There's no way he's going to let her ever go.
Well, how would that relationship work out though? Because I mean, she just likes to like a ton of guys. Right?
No, that is not true. I wish that was the case, but that is not true. Or no, I shouldn't say that. I'm sorry. That sounded way more negative. The perception that like pretty girls just go out and fuck like a million dudes, even in open or poly relationships, I have never seen that be the case in my entire life. Most of the open or poly style relationships, the girls are generally like, they might have like a few guys that they hook up with like pretty regularly, but like that's it. Like it's not like they're like a million dudes.
I thought for her
like
that was the case.
dudes.
I thought she just slept around. No,
not that much. I mean, more than average for sure, but like not that much. No.
So would she actually be happier in a closed relationship? Maybe.
Personally, I think so, but she would say differently. But that's a good question for her.
Interesting. That's crazy. And so right now, when you're going through this, like obviously breakup with someone you've been with for years, are you like maybe this is too personal, I don't know. I'm asking about your feelings. Are you feeling like super like down bad? Are you like sad about it every night? Like, oh, I miss Melina, or is it like, well, on to the next thing?
Yeah, I mean, like generally when I'm evaluating stages of my life, the only two people I'm worried about are like my potential futures and then like the person I was yesterday, right? So am I like improving or making like improvements, or is like I'm working towards something better than what I'm at right now? I think that relationship had capped out for a variety of reasons because of my partner. I think that my next partner, if I find another one, would be way better. And I think me being single and just having like friends that I meet is also better. So I feel like every world available to me in the future is better than the worlds that were available to me while I was with my last partner. So I think I'm in a better spot right now. But
and so you're not like emotionally, I guess, just like fuck.
No, not yet. But
that's crazy.
Maybe it'll hit me later. But yeah. I had a friend here for like 2 weeks to hang out with. Like she was super cool. I'm just streaming. Now I've got more people that are in and out of town. Like, yeah, I can always like hang out with people and do stuff. Like, it's not like I'm sitting here like staring at the ceiling alone for 10 hours while I'm, contemplating my loneliness. Like there's always stuff I can work on, friends I can hang out with doing shit. Yeah.
It's good to stay busy. The only advice I can really give people when they email me asking, they're like, oh, I'm depressed, I'm sad, what do I do? And I don't have a ton of good advice, but the one thing I can say is that I've never gotten much out of like just thinking about my feelings. Like, I'm not saying you shouldn't acknowledge it, like red pill stuff, push it deep down, like Sneeko says, but I've just never gotten much out of just like sitting, pondering on it. It's just like, you just got to move on to the next thing, on to the next chapter. That's all you can really do.
Yeah. I feel like in regards to that, I feel like one is like time away from the person is the only way to heal. So when you've got people that are like obsessed over an ex-partner for years and years, unfortunately, I think the issue is that they haven't had time away from that partner. They're still stalking the social media every day. They're like trying to still be friends. They might call them. They stalk in other ways. Like that type of shit will destroy you. Like you got to put that person away completely in your life. Like go through the withdrawals. It's going to hurt for a few days, for a week, for 2 weeks, and then it gets like better, and then eventually you move on. But you can't get stuck in that space of like stalking them forever. That's not good. Yeah.
No. Well, one of the biggest things also that's in my relationships has been an issue has been that I don't get a ton from like talking about problems that I have like mentally or something. Like not that I won't talk about it because I think it's important to communicate, but I don't get a lot from like talking endlessly late up, staying up late at night talking about problems. I don't know. I'd rather just do something else. And the thing I do appreciate about the red pill is that they will preach about putting that energy into other things like work or going to the gym or whatever it may be, hobbies, passions, interests, other people. I feel like sitting around talking about your problems endlessly is kind of a very dark cycle to be in. And I have my own thoughts about this outside of this as well, but for me personally, I've just never gotten a lot out of just like, all right, let's talk for 4 hours about how we feel.
Yeah, I mean, I think it just depends on how you process things. Like if you're generally over it, if it's not like a bunch of negative things in your life in relation to like a prior problem you had, then yeah, you just keep working and you move through. But like there are a lot of guys that I describe this as like rolling baggage, basically, that you collect garbage in the form of like mental traumas or whatever you want to say. Just you collect like a lot of mental baggage, and sometimes it's good to sit either with yourself or with a friend or with a therapist and like sort through it and package it and then pack it and then move forward so that you're not like carrying a bunch of baggage with you. There are some people though that will accumulate baggage and they never actually address it, and they go to the gym and they just work and they keep going and going. And the more baggage you collect, one, it comes out detrimentally in terms of how you relate to people, because people can tell when you're up. And then two, at some point you're going to have a huge breakdown, and to try to go back and sort through the garbage that's been accumulating for months or years can sometimes be impossible depending on how you are. So yeah, I think it just depends on what you've gone through in life, how you solve problems, the support systems around you. Like,
yeah, it definitely does not help to bottle it all up. And that's one of the kind of criticisms I have a lot of the red pill guys, which is it's just so extreme. And I don't consider myself a right-wing person, but I do agree with some of what they have to say on I mean, pretty much every topic, they have a few good points, right? People like them for a reason. That being said, I think this sort of like Tony Soprano, like the strong, silent type kind of thing, I just don't think that works for anyone. And I'm curious how that's going to be emotionally affecting people like Sneeko, who I feel like I talk about him a lot on your stream. I see him as like a very sensitive sort of, I don't want to say beta male, but just like a sensitive, like artiste type guy, not this like alpha male, like strong, silent kind of guy. And so it's weird for me to see him parrot these opinions about like how you should be as a man, when to me, he's just like, he's probably a soft guy on the inside. He likes to talk about his feelings.
Maybe, yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, and I always feel like the interpretations are always so broken. Like if people see like a strong stoic figure that's not bothered by stuff, like in my mind, that's a person that receives like mental trauma and can sort through it and process it very quickly and efficiently and then keep moving. It's not somebody that doesn't ever feel it. That's like nobody. Nobody's like that. That's impossible. And for people to pretend that you just go through things and either, just push it down, ball it up, or like don't feel anything, like that's bullshit. Like if you want to exercise some high degree of stoicism or masculinity in terms of like controlling your emotions, then it's the ability to like endure a lot, process it and package it very quickly and efficiently, and then keep moving forward. Not have any feelings. It's fucking retarded.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And be sure to become a member. For $5 a month, they get the members-only podcasts and exclusive videos that only members get. Thanks so much for your support.